Welcome back to Kurz Wind Conversations. I'm your host, Robert Moore, and today we've got a great guest joining us from ExxonMobil, Shiv Patel. Shiv's been at the forefront of helping wind energy companies extend turbine life and reduce maintenance risk through high performance lubricants. We're going to talk about what goes into keeping turbines spinning reliably, how ExxonMobil supports that mission, and maybe even a few stories from the field. Shiv, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robert, for having me here. I'm excited to be here.
I always like to start off first. I want to, we're going to get to that technical stuff, right? But let's talk about you for a minute. How did you kind of first get into the energy space, into the kind of the world of wind?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I've been with ExxonMobil for 10 years now. I studied industrial engineering in my undergrad, so knew I wanted to go into an engineering focused type of role. And ExxonMobil is just an excellent opportunity where they balance engineering, but also the commercial aspect with sales. So I mentioned I've been here 10 years. I've been in various roles from sales engineer covering local territories in the Northeast. I was an OEM account manager on the dealership side for a few years, went into marketing for some strategy level roles and deploying those broadly with distributors and teams. And then finally, I was really excited about coming into a renewable industry that's really emerging and growing. So coming into this national account sales executive role gave me that opportunity to really understand what's going on in this space, which is really new to me. I'm about 2.5 years in, so we'll mention that, but I've loved every part of it so far. Fascinating people, fascinating things to learn, and really just a collaborative industry to be a part of.
I absolutely agree with that. One of the things that I personally love about wind is that it's this large global entity, but yet it's more of this tribal, smaller group of people, and we all know each other basically. At the end of the day,
Absolutely. Well said. I mean, you go to these shows and see the same people, you have these awesome conversations, learn from one another, and very tight knit industry, but some awesome dynamic people that you come across.
very much so. Yeah. So let's learn about your day to day role, or just maybe some lubricants in general that um, people usually get wrong, what or underestimate. What's something that you just want to debunk right now?
I mean, I think one thing I will say is all lubricants are not the same. I think that's a really key part of it. I mentioned I've been here 10 years. One thing I really gained a great appreciation for is the product technology that goes into a lubricant. There's so many different components and engineering aspect and work that could be put into it to really help benefit the customer. So I just want to debunk that. There are varying lubricants out there, excellent options too, but just want to make sure people understand that not all lubricants are the same. And when you see these premium lubricants, there's a reason behind it. All the effort and the R&D work that goes in to creating it is done for a reason. And end of the day, ExxonMobil really has customer in mind first. So we are doing what we look as not just selling a lubricant, but we're selling lubricant solutions. So I really like to ground in that aspect itself.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. I've worked with it, with mobile now for a while. The time that you guys take, and the knowledge that you pour into your products, it's amazing to me. So, all right. So real quick, outside of work, what keeps you curious or inspired? What do you have going on that you really love to do?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, first and foremost is going to be the family and the friends. Everything I do is for the family, and really, there's always work-life balance. I like to hone in on the fact of work helps fuel what I like to do and enjoy, and much of that is spending time with family, and beyond that, really traveling as well. Whether it's international trips or even domestic, there's a lot of cool spots in the U.S. too. So my wife and I try to tag on at least one or two big trips per year, just get out, go see nature, and really just go see a lot of what the world has to offer as well.
I wish I could do that more often myself. So,
I
uh,
got to get out there, Robert.
I know, I do. All right. So let's start to talk about ExxonMobil a little bit more. Let's set the stage. How has wind energy evolved as a priority for ExxonMobil over the last decade or so?
Yeah, great question. I mean, over the last decade, I think wind has shifted from really being a niche application to becoming a strategic focus sector for ExxonMobil. I will caveat, we have always been engaged in the wind sector, so I want to ensure people know that too. But the level of engagement has really increased over the past years. I mentioned I'm about 2.5 years in, so I'd like to take a start and just shout out there's a lot of amazing people that came before me that were a part of this wind space for ExxonMobil, whether it's on the research and engineering side or formulation, sales, building relationships, or even on the OEM side, just finding new ways to build strategic relationships and understand. So we've been a part of this for a long time, but now it's really as the sector is growing, we are continually investing and finding ways to really grow with the industry as well and support by putting solutions in. I mean, dating back to the 90s, that's when our mobile gear XMP 320 product initially launched out at that point, and it was a Win specific product as well. So we've had products here, but now we're just putting more and more investment, time, people, resources into making sure that we're meeting the industry's needs. And having a team in place is also really key. So I'm really excited about our renewed focus. You know, we have all these great partnerships with OEMs like the Vestas, GE, Siemens of the world, service providers like yourself with Kurz, and customers as well. It's really that collaborative environment that allows us to continue developing solutions for what the industry needs. So I'm excited. I'm coming in, had a great time. I know there was a lot of effort prior to me, so don't want to minimize that in any way. And really shout out to those people that did come before me as well.
That's really good. I appreciate that. You mentioned something just now, OEM. So, in the time frame that you guys have been in the industry, from the 90s, you were saying, right? So, obviously, with that amount of time that you have in the industry, working with the OEMs, there has to be unique challenges that have presented themselves when working with the turbines. Maybe, what are some of the problem areas that you're most often helping those OEMs or maybe like a service team solve?
That's a great question. So you said it well. There are some really unique challenges to this industry, and wind turbines present a very different set of challenges compared to traditional industrial equipment. So think about a wind turbine itself. They're operating in remote or offshore locations, exposed to extreme temperatures and constantly changing wind loads. So for us, that means the lubricants that we continue to develop have to be robust, whether they're performing in minus 40 C weather up in Canada or northern climates, or 50 C summers in Texas. They need to be robust throughout all of this while ensuring that they're handling these high torque and variable speeds. Um, the industry itself, just looking at a wind turbine, I love to put it in perspective too. Thinking of the torque demand on a wind turbine, a car engine is around 500 Newton meters of torque. A standard industrial gearbox is around 100,000 Newton meters. A wind gearbox now, it could generate up to 4 million Newton meters. So I try to just put that in perspective, just see the significant demand that's here too. So that's one of the key pieces. In the industry itself, some of the specific items, one of the biggest issues that we see is the white etching cracking, or WEC, as many people know in the industry.
Mhm.
So type of subsurface bearing failure, and it could lead to catastrophic damage. So when we're developing our new products and our new gear oils, such as our Mobile SHC Gear 320WT or Mobile SHC Gear 320 Wind Power, they're both certified by DNV to not contribute to WEC. So huge differentiator here, especially for these OEMs. And we aren't developing these in a silo. We're working directly with the OEMs to develop them as well. So you see the extreme environments they're in. WEC, I mentioned, is one of the big ones. And also in general, just other things like oxidation and additive depletion. You want to make sure that lubricant is working the best it can for the longest time frame it can too. End of the day, that lubricant is essentially a film between two metal to metal contact surfaces. And our goal is to make sure that film is functioning and keeping those separate. Because once those metal to metal surfaces start hitting or chipping into each other, that's when you have failures or damage to the actual equipment itself. So varying levels of way that we focus in on it, and we really take a balanced formulation approach. So we are formulating our product to target what are the key issues in different industry situations that we see, and how can our lubricant help solve problems, and most importantly, operational reliability. That's our goal. We want to make sure that our customers are able to operate, produce for the grid, and really not have to concern about the lubricant, knowing that it has a quality product in there and really can perform as expected as well.
It's so awesome to hear all of the thought and the process that goes into the way that Mobil works. Let's talk about one of your gear oils. At Kurz, we kind of see firsthand how some products like your Mobil SHC Gear 320 WT performs in the field, right? What kind of sets this product apart from other like lubricants that you see in the wind industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mentioned it earlier too, just the extreme demands in the environment that these wind turbines face, and in relation, the lubricant itself sets it apart itself. So you mentioned the Mobil SHC Gear 320 WT. It is an oil that is engineered specifically for wind turbines. They use PAO-based synthetic oils, proprietary anti-wear, anti-foam additives, offering excellent air release, thermal stability, and a lot of these are validated by industry tests too. So what makes them different is, one, we need to make sure we have the highest quality base oils in there and the proper formulations to meet the demands of the wind turbine. We need to tailor these to make sure they're resisting micro pitting, white etch and cracking that I mentioned, varnish and sludge formations. And I think one of the big differentiators is also they are designed to have longer oil drain intervals to facilitate lower maintenance. When you look at industrial applications, maintenance personnel can access that equipment much easier. So it's not as difficult for them to change out lubricants or go there and test it. But here we're talking hundreds of feet in the air, not as easily accessible. So our oils are designed to have life longevity and also just make sure that they're operating properly, even through some of the harshest conditions. So that's really our goal. Our goal is overall to help operators reduce the number of times they need to go up tower and change the oil as each time they climb too, because that's a safety hazard too. So that's a big focus for us. How do we reduce those touch points and help them enhance their operations as well?
All right, you just said something too, man. As you're talking, like the things are coming to me, right? Like I worked at the sites for a while before I came here. And one of the things that I noticed that you said was talking about how long the operator can use the oil for. So let's talk about the warranty side. Like for example, the Mobil SHC 320 WT has, like, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a 10-year or a fill for life coverage. That's not really a small thing. What does that promise represent in terms of, say, ExxonMobil's confidence or commitment to this sector?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll clarify first. Our Mobil SAC Gear 320 WT has a 10-year warranty. Our latest gen product, our Mobil SHC Gear 320 WP, or Wind Power, has a fill for life type of warranty. So it just highlights and shows that as the industry is moving to longer oil drain intervals and having these longevity of lubricants in there, we are helping to meet the demands. We are working hand in hand with OEMs, the operators, the customers, service providers, really to understand what are the needs and then developing based off that. So you could also see a transition from 5-year lubricant to now a 10-year lubricant. And our latest one, a fill for life. So I really like to highlight the fact of warranties are not really just about covering costs of failure. I look at it as they are about preventing them. So we are doing these stringent testing and field trials when we put out these warranties to help us confidently ensure that they're going to reach that limit as well. So warranties, they provide confidence, peace of mind for operators, and they assure these operators that the lubricant's going to perform as promised too. So we aren't going to be putting out a 10-year warranty unless we are absolutely certain that it will meet that in varying conditions as well too. So what this does for operators, it supports them in terms of predictable maintenance planning, lowering O&M costs, fewer safety risks, and greater uptime itself too. There's a lot that goes into the warranty, the significant amount of testing that we do internally. But not just internally, I also want to highlight that we do this in conjunction with OEMs and customers to really make sure that it's validated, it meets the need, it's suitable for use, and it really could benefit them at the end of the day. So I think all that said, it just really highlights that ExxonMobil is not really just selling lubricants. We're invested in the success of wind operators. So we're pioneering these warranty-backed solutions and partnering with OEMs and third-party certifiers to really ensure that our products are meeting the sector's highest standards.
Okay. So I love it. I love the warranty. I love to me that says confidence in your product, right? So now we know with some companies, warranties maybe have particular levels to them. What kind of factor goes into building that support for the customer on those warranties? I guess the specifics of those warranties and how they're determined.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is the market back approach. We need to understand what is the end user, the OEM, the customers, what are they trying to accomplish and what are they trying to get to? We don't like to just manufacture and formulate new products and just push them out in the market. We are looking to understand what is the need that we are solving and then purposefully designing and formulating to meet that need specifically. So the varying levels of warranty, I mentioned the 10-year, that was to help extend ODIs. Now I mentioned the fill for life. It's really to help them minimize their touch points. And end of the day, we want the lubricant to be a second thought to them because they have the other items that they need to focus on. And I say this in a way that lubricant is not, I don't say it as in lubricant's not important. I say it more importantly as our lubricants perform as expected so they don't have to worry about it. That sort of helps with the different tiers of the warranty. I will highlight when we do these warranties, one key thing that we always ensure is the operators and the customers are taking oil analysis samples, which is key. It's like taking a blood sample every year you take for your body, understanding what's going on, helping you with the preventative maintenance. Same concept as that. We want to ensure that we are understanding what's going on because as great as a lubricant can be, a damaged component or something else mechanically can inhibit the full benefits of the lubricant if it's not monitored.
Which we're hitting right, kind of nail on the head, back and forth, right? So you're talking monitor. I'm thinking, what role does predictive maintenance, like oil condition monitoring, play in reducing downtime? And you were just kind of speaking about that. I'm kind of curious your thoughts on, the oil condition monitoring.
Yeah, I mean, oil condition monitoring, or some call it OCM, that plays a central critical role in predictive maintenance. It really enables early detection of lubricant degradation, mechanical wear, um, and all of that is preventing costly failures and extending equipment life. So we want to make sure that our customers are having a predictive proactive maintenance program versus a reactive one. Utilizing technologies like oil condition monitoring, you can really track trends in the oil and the equipment health. And what this ultimately does is it supports making data driven decisions for oil changes and maintenance scheduling. So very important in this industry and across the board too. I think oil analysis is such a key item to have because it really helps influence your decisions and make sure that you're making the proper decisions based off exactly what's occurring in the equipment itself. Um, we're invested in this. I mean, we have our own mobile lubricant analysis program. We have labs here in the US. We have advanced labs in Canada. So we are constantly trying to understand what's going on in the varying make models, different lubricants being used, and using that data to drive not just ways to improve the lubricant, but also ways to improve operational practices for customers as well that ultimately benefit them. Beyond this, we've also just recently signed a global partnership agreement with Poseidon Systems. So we could utilize their state of the art sensor technology, capture oil quality details without having to effectively pull a sample manually. So, a huge benefit here, and really being able to have sensors in place that are in line. They also have other sensors like from vibration monitoring or grease quality testing. So, our goal is how do we find the next level, next generation of these solutions as well? We have mobile lubricant analysis, but we're trying to find ways to even minimize touch points even further as we go.
That's incredible because, like, my next question was, I was like, how is ExxonMobil kind of thinking about, like, how do they support customers who are actually using that data effectively? But it sounds like you already have teams out there. You're working with the Poseidon technologies, like you were saying. I mean, it sounds like you guys are really invested in rewarding companies that do take good data and give it back to you and say, hey, this is what we're seeing.
Yeah, and you know what? Shameless plug here too. It's we love oil analysis data. We have some incredible people that know how to analyze it, understand what's going on. Our programs are designed to make simple suggestions and recommendations on how to do things. But end of the day, that this data is key, not just for us, but we mentioned that tight knit community. Our goal is to understand what's going on and constantly evolve our offer to make sure it's meeting those needs. And a lot of it comes from this type of data, the oil analysis itself.
Definitely, definitely. Let's talk about synthetic oils or advanced formulations and how they maybe extend the service intervals, and and what kind of improved turbine reliability we get between the different types of oils out there. I'm always curious to understand that between like a synthetic or more of a natural.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fun actually, because this is always a question we get too. So maybe I'll help break down the mineral versus synthetic, what the difference is too. So when you take this crude oil and you're refining it, mineral is essentially you're refining out all the extra things that you don't need and trying to bring it down to as uniform of a molecular structure as possible. But it's not going to be perfect because that's how you do it. On the other hand, synthetic is you are breaking it down to all the base components, and then you're essentially, quote unquote, rebuilding those synthetic blocks to build a synthetic lubricant. I hope that sort of highlights just a little bit about how it's done. But so to your question, our ultimate goal is extending service intervals and enhancing operational reliability for customers. So our mobile SHC Gear 320 WT and our mobile SHC Gear 320 Wind Power, the WP, are both synthetic products. And what that brings to the table is the base oil, which is either mineral or synthetic. These are both synthetic itself. They provide so much positive benefit for turbine applications. And they also combine this in conjunction with additives as well to really find ways to just extend the life. When you have a synthetic oil, it is much more uniform. So when these mechanical components are beating up on it over time, it's going to last longer as well, which contributes to those long oil drain intervals I mentioned to you. Um, in addition, not just the base oil, but the additives that we put in, they are specifically designed for anti-WEC, anti-foam, compatibility with top treat programs, also certified by third parties like DNV. So our goal here is when we're using these synthetic oils, which are needed in this type of space, they are really for the longevity, extending life of the lubricant and protecting the equipment and ensuring we reduce that metal to metal contact as much as we can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, we'll shift again here. We work in the renewable energy space. Obviously, sustainability, life cycle considerations are important to us as companies. I'm sure from Mobil's perspective and from Kurz. With environmental, social, and governance, or ESG reporting becoming really central to the industry, how does ExxonMobil design its lubricants to reduce any environmental impact over the turbine's life cycle?
Yeah, great question. I think this might sound counterintuitive, right? But our overall goal is not to sell a higher volume of lubricants to a customer, but instead, we're really trying to provide industry leading lubricant solutions that help solve customer issues and enhance operations. So, as we continue to develop new formulations that extend the lifetime of the lubricant, in essence, they're reducing the amount of oil they're consuming as well, the volume of lubricant needed at sites, and the reduction of unnecessary disposals too. Specifically, I mean, our mobile SHC Gear 320 Wind Power, our Fill for Life lubricant, it offers up to an 80% reduction in global warming potential, or GWP, compared to a lot of those conventional 5-year ODI oils. So that is a major step itself forward in helping operators meet their ESG goals and reducing that levelized cost of energy, that LCOE. And we continue to actively research new technologies and methodologies as well to really support the industry's evolving sustainability demands. And as we do that, we ensure we keep that focus on durability and performance. But I hope that highlights just a little bit of these lubricants are being developed to make sure the equipment's running properly. But at the same time, we're trying to reduce the amount of lubricant that's consumed, disposed of, formulating new products that offer reductions in GWP. So really aligning with customers and their sustainability goals too. We're trying to become a solution provider fully and holistically, and that's really the goal of a lot of our products as well.
That's awesome. Uh, I can't stress how much mobile seems to be planning not just for the now but for the future, and I like that. I like that a lot. So, all right, I'm gonna throw a shameless little plug myself out there, Shiv. Who's the who's the only wind distributor in the United States that you have as a direct distributor from mobile?
Hey, I mean, we have Kurz Wind Solutions, and I'm really excited about our partnership, Robert. It's been incredible so far. We launched it this year. Kurz is a critical partner for us in the field, and you guys bring significant benefit to ExxonMobil's desire to grow in this space. I mean, from deploying lubricants quickly, supporting conversions and flushes, providing on-site trainings for technicians, or even really just bringing a lot of market back intel and feedback to us to help us understand what we need to do better has just been key. It's really been a blast. I truly mean that. And doing things like this too, I'm happy to always join anything with Kurz. You guys have been excellent to work with. And hey, anyone out there, Kurz will help service you guys properly. They have a keen focus on customers, and hey, they're a great partner for us. So I'm excited to continue this and see what we bring in the future too.
All right, thank you. I was hoping you were gonna go that direction. And I can say also from my end, yeah, mobile has been an absolutely wonderful partner. And receiving this distributorship this year was something that I felt like we worked real hard for. And tried to prove ourselves, improve the commitment we have to the industry, and really kind of chase down those leads for you so that we could get your product into more turbines, whether it's oil or grease, by the way, too. It's not just the oil. So what's on the horizon for mobile when it comes to any product innovations or data-driven lubrication type systems that you're working on? What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have a little extent of what I could share, not fully. Some stuff is still under wraps being worked, but before I do that, I do want to touch on what you mentioned there, right? It's not just the oil, it's the greases, it's the other components. I really admire the fact that ExxonMobil has end-to-end lubricants for every component of a wind turbine, and having a partner like hers really helps us broadly drive that awareness to customers out there, ensure that they know that they could get this from a single supplier, high quality lubricants to meet all their demands too. So just a plug there, Robert. I had to throw that in there. But
It's all right.
on the horizon for product innovation, we're actively advancing data-driven lubrication systems and the next-gen synthetic lubricants to really meet the evolving demands of the wind sector. We hone in on mobile lubricant analysis, I mentioned earlier, to really enable predictive maintenance with data analytics. So this is central to our predictive maintenance strategy. By using that real-time oil condition monitoring and detecting early signs of wear, contamination, degradation. Additionally, we're investing in the next generation of advanced synthetic base oils. I would love to share those details. Can't specifically. I hope I can on a future podcast, but that is exciting for me. As we continually advance these synthetic base oils, that's less and less need for additives, and just because the base oil that we use has so much capability and really can do what we need out in the field itself too. So we really focus on those base stock technologies as well to find ways to enhance lubricant properties like a higher viscosity index, so it's better over temperature ranges, better film thickness under loads. These gearboxes are getting smaller, and the torque and the demand as these turbines are getting bigger, these loads are massive and they keep increasing. So we need to address that, ensure that we have great temperature performance for varying environments, and also just lowering foaming oxidation as well to really ensure that the lubrication, the high and low speed gearboxes in extreme climates functions appropriately. So that we're continually evaluating new partnerships. I mentioned the one with Poseidon Systems. We have the excellent one with Kurz Wind. So just finding ways that we could collaborate with those in this space and offer solutions, not just lubricants, but really tie that in. And overall, these solutions are meant to address operational needs and enhance maintenance practices and efficiency as well.
Well, shoot, you kind of beat me up here. One of my last questions or things that I wanted to hone in on is, with the growth of larger turbines, like you had mentioned that just a second ago, and even offshore installations that may or may not be coming to the United States. What are some of the new lubrication demands that I was going to say, are you guys preparing for? But it's you kind of hit on it. If you could touch base real quick again on that, I'm just kind of curious about how you're planning for the future for these larger turbines, smaller gearboxes, and offshore type of setups.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in perfect sync today, huh, Robert? We're just
I
back
know.
and forth. It's great. No, so yeah, with the growth of the larger turbines and these offshore, it's evolving every single year. There's shift towards those larger, more powerful turbines, and then offshore wind farms as well. So these create new challenges for us. I mean, one of them I mentioned is the higher loads in the smaller gearboxes. OEMs are designing lighter gearboxes to reduce that nacelle weight, but this results in higher torque densities and smaller sump volumes. And for us, I mean, that increases thermal stress, oxidation rates, and even the additive depletion. So we're continuing to test and develop lubricants with enhancements in this thermal stability and the longer drain intervals to handle conditions. For the offshore turbine space, they face severe environments, including salt spray, humidity, wide temperature swings, and then limited maintenance access too. So we're continuing to engineer our lubricants for corrosion resistance, water separation, and once again, extended service life. Our goal is how can we have that lubricant in there as long as possible without being a concern or something that needs to be repetitively accessed or tested, and really just alleviating any concerns for operators so they can focus on other tasks and most importantly, ensuring their units online and supplying the grid that they're agreeing to do in the first place. So we continue to work on these solutions, and our goal is just understand from the customer what is fully and truly needed, and then developing solutions based on that itself.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Well, that's all I got for you today, Shiv. I appreciate you being here. We want to say, from Kurz Wind Conversations, big thank you to Shiv for coming on and for sharing not just his technical insights, but also, the strategic vision behind ExxonMobil's work in the wind sector. From, oil condition monitoring to industrial leading warranties, it's clear that lubrications plays a much bigger role in wind reliability than most people realize, I think. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to subscribe, share the episode with others in your network who care about renewable energy, innovation, and keeping turbines spinning. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep the wind at your back. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Robert.
You bet.